I feel like I just want to talk to you guys. I'm really like feeling quite stuck. It's got a lot to do with explaining to people and helping people to understand what I'm going through, or wanting people to understand but not knowing how to tell them and bring them into like my world and be in their world when I'm stuck in this world. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Because I am one of those people that when there's something wrong, I'd like change my environment. I like to move my desk around and like try a new setup and see if that helps. So I'm going to shift where my desk is in my room whilst I chat with you. So this is it right now. I've got it by the window. So yeah, I'm finding the unmasking process to be really, really difficult because I'm autistic. And that sounds kind of circular, but I guess what I mean is that I now understand myself a little bit better and I feel like I can explain myself to people. At least I do when I'm thinking about it in my head. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. Like I could explain this to people and I could explain how I feel about things, the things I struggle with and what I need from them, you know, how I hope to be myself more going forwards. And then unfortunately, as soon as I'm in a situation where I'm presented with an opportunity to talk to people about it and to explain, I find it really, really, really hard to actually do it. When I'm in the situation and I'm being perceived, even if it's someone I'm really, really close to, it's really, really hard. I think it's probably a combination of things. One, I struggle to express myself in front of people in the way that I do, like in these videos, for example, because I just feel the social pressure. Also because I'm just not used to doing it. Like I have spent my whole 30 years like learning how to minimize myself and to fly under the radar and just try and not tick anyone off. And like, you know, I saw myself as a like a young adolescent. I basically was like just hoping that people would stick around. It was only at uni that I found a friendship group, really. They're still like my best friends, and even though I know that they love me, I carry so much of the heartache of like losing all my friends from school without really understanding why, and not really ever fitting in to or having like a close group of friends that were consistent. I brought that into my 20s and I still carry it now, and so taking up space is really, 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 really hard for me, especially when it's taking up space in a way that's like, I was going to use the word burdening. I feel like it's not a good word to use, especially when it's taking up space in a way that requires support from other people. I'm so used to that being something that then like puts people off, and I have this like inherent belief which I need to work through, that if I ask for help from people and I require support, then it's just gonna make them be like, oh, I can't be bothered anymore, it's not worth it, basically. That's such a like, as I say it out loud, it hurts my heart because it's such an awful thing to feel, and it's so isolating because it means that I then don't actually, or you know, alongside finding it difficult to talk to people about how I actually feel because I'm autistic, that trauma response of like feeling anxious about doing it as well for fear of them abandoning me contributes to this, I think, subconscious thing I do, which is where I just don't tell anyone anything. And so I'm stuck with like not having the support I need. And this was me when I was masking, and I guess I kind of thought maybe that would go away a bit when I found out, and that suddenly I'd be able to just tell people how I was feeling and like ask for the support I need. And now it's really shocking and confronting when I'm finding out that I'm struggling with that. In contribution to that, because I think the right term at the moment is high masking, people just never knew that I was struggling so much. And so for them now it's like, whoa, where did this all come from? It kind of feels like, I don't want to say that people don't believe me, because like I don't believe anyone is being intentionally not taking it very seriously, but like it does feel a little bit like it's such a shock to them that they're just like, they don't know what to do with it. To be fair, I don't necessarily think I've explained it to many people because I've been so isolated in my burnout, and I've not really seen anyone, and not many people have really asked after me about it and like given me the opportunity to really take the time to explain. So all of this combined is just making me feel really, really isolated and really lonely. Okay, I've just moved everything off my desk. Let's just move this. I haven't sorted out these wires yet, so ignore that for the moment, but I think it's pretty cute. It's now like a little nook in this corner of the room. This is where my sofa bed is, and then books, and a corner for my writing and my art. and whatever else I want to do. Make YouTube videos. This is cool. And then that means that like when I'm sitting and working, I can look out the window and enjoy the blossom on our street. Because look at the blossom, oh my God. How pretty. It's only here for like a week in the year, but it's so beautiful. I have to make the most of it. Okay, I really like this setup. I think this is cute. So yeah, and the other thing that I'm like really aware of is that I do have rejection sensitivity. Like whether that's down to trauma or whether that's because of there being like an inherent trait of my autistic experience and potential ADHD experience, because I think I'm ADHD as well, but I haven't been formally diagnosed. I don't know, but the point is that I definitely 100%, 1,000,000% have an issue with being incredibly sensitive to rejection. And the thing with rejection sensitivity is that it's not just like actual rejection, it's like perceived rejection as well. So whatever my brain perceives as rejection, it could be so small. It could literally be me spotting like a difference in a pattern in a person's behavior that has nothing to do with me, that I take personally and I think is about me. I find it such a difficult trait to deal with because, well, for numerous reasons, but mainly it causes me so much emotional dysregulation that I honestly have most of my meltdowns are because of something to do with rejection sensitivity. It's so frequent and it can come out of nowhere and it just ruins my day. Like it completely derails me. I will end up in like thought spirals for hours, and I'm kind of getting better at like knowing what to do in those situations to try and get me out of that process. But once it started, it's so strong. It's so strong, and it can make me feel like I'm losing a person, or I'm a terrible person, or I've done something wrong, or I'm fundamentally wrong in some way, or I've pissed someone off, and like it's so devastating and debilitating for those reasons. And then also, once you think about it and you realize, like it always takes me a period of time to be like, oh, this is rejection sensitivity. Like potentially this is my brain playing tricks on me, and actually there is nothing that is an actual rejection here. But it can take me ages to realize that. And so in that time, I've literally wasted parts of my life just kind of worrying about this and feeling depressed about this rejection that doesn't actually exist. And two, then once I realized that it's like a perceived rejection, and actually if I'm thinking about it rationally, I don't agree that it's something to be actually concerned about or something that I need to set boundaries on or anything like that, I then feel guilty for actually having gone through that whole process, because it is like fundamentally it feels egotistical to think that everything has to do with you and everything revolves around you, and like, you know, that the person in the coffee shop, the barista, that it's to do with you and not because they're just having a bad day or something terrible happened to them. And I don't know, it's just so many components to all this shit. Like I don't know how you go about untwining them and like making life easier. And then the rejection sensitivity like feeds into the difficulties I'm having with like knowing what to expect from friendships, because like, is it my rejection sensitivity that is causing me to feel like they're not there for me enough, or they haven't met my expectations of what like I would do in that friendship or what I deserve from that friendship? Or is it because they actually aren't like being there for me enough, and therefore, you know, the feelings that I'm feeling are valid? I mean, all my feelings are valid, but you know what I mean, whether it's rejection sensitivity or whether it's like an actual rejection and something that I actually want to like address with them or try to address with them, because that's a whole fucking other thing. Like I've got no idea how to go about that kind of thing. It's really hard to navigate. Anyway, I feel like this video is all over the place. I'm just talking my head off. I don't know, sometimes it just helps to talk things through. I feel like I don't have a single unique experience as a late diagnosed autistic person who shares their life online, because actually whenever I make these kinds of videos I feel so nervous to share these like raw thoughts and like processes that I'm going through, because I'm like, how could anyone else be possibly going through this? Like it just feels so nuanced and complex and confusing. I'm like, how can more than my like other people's brains be doing this to them? It just feels so unfair. And then as soon as I share it, it's like everyone is like, me too, or not everyone, but lots of people are like, me too, that I have this experience too. And like, yes, of course our exact scenarios are not the same and our autistic experiences are not the same, but like I feel like there are these tensions that we experience in the process of being late diagnosed, and then the process of trying to get to know ourselves are a lot of the time very similar. It just is reassuring, I guess, to know that that's the case, and that like there are people out there who are just as much as you, like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? Okay, I may know myself a little bit better than I did before when I was masking, but like, even if I know myself better now, how do I communicate that to other people? How do I know what to expect from other people? How do I know how to ask the right support? What do I do if they don't meet my needs? What do I do if I keep getting excluded or ignored? Or like, there are so many factors to this. Before I leave you, let me show you what the new setup looks like, and let me know in the comments if you think it looks good.